Yeah, it's funny the things you do as a kid can end up influencing your entire life as an adult. So I'm currently on a journey to become a full-time professional artist. I've been on a long, long journey to do that. And even back in the days when I was sort of 10, 12, 15 years old, I used to think, you know what, I'm actually quite good at drawing. I think I could make it as a professional, maybe. As you're about to see, I don't know what I was thinking. I'm going to embarrass myself by showing some of the worst examples of art you've ever seen. But this is what started it all off for me. This one represents my first ever drawing that I kept back from 1993. So at this age, I was probably about 11 years old. And this was just a copy from a Christmas card design. And I was like, yeah, okay, look at me. Look at me, I'm an artist. And then from there, I used to make up weird characters based on comics and cartoons, things that I would read or check out at the time, a bit of anime, that kind of thing. Just whatever I would find, I would either make up weird stuff, I would try and copy characters, this one being from Dragon Ball. It's kind of funny how I've sort of looked back at this and see how far I've come. Some of this stuff was from like when I was back at school. So back when I was about, I don't know, 12 years old or so, I would be drawing things for school. The teacher would be commenting on it. And other times, just making up stuff. I used to like robots, a typical young kid, boy. Robots, aliens, monsters, that was my jam. That's what I liked. So that is what I drew. And this is just examples of more of that. So weird stuff. I kind of liked horror as well. So anything kind of weird and grotesque. You know, I would take like a character from an anime like Dragon Ball, and then I would put scars on them and have their limbs cut off, stuff like that. It's pretty common, typical for me. Occasionally I would even go a little bit abstract and play with coloured pencils. But yeah, monsters and game related things, mutants and weird stuff. So yeah, still at this age, about 12 years old. I used to think at this age, certainly compared to my friends at school, that I was actually good at drawing. But it's crazy when you look at kids today that are 10, 11, 12, and they're actually doing good things. You know, they're drawing stuff that looks like stuff that, you know, you can see the potential there. You can see it's almost semi-professional. You know, in the right context, people might even pay for it. Whereas this stuff is obviously like complete trash. And then there was the occasional one where I would copy a picture and I was like, oh, that's actually a really good copy. I'm really pleased with some of this copy. Is obviously copying a lot easier than making up your own original characters, but I like to do a little bit of both, whatever I was inspired by. Sometimes a copy, sometimes like these, just weird, original, colourful characters, getting the felt tip pens out, just based on things that I liked or knew about. Back to the copies now, Spawn related. One of the first ever mangas I read, Battle Angel Alita. So yeah, trying acrylic paints on something for the first time. And yeah, weird mixture of weird abstract stuff that I would make up, and then obviously the better stuff that I would copy. Sometimes dabbling with coloured pencils, sometimes with paints. Sometimes I would surprise myself and I would just make something up on the spot and it actually looked quite good. Most of the time, not so much. It was always the copies that were sort of on the next level above. But yeah, I think I'm about 14 years old at this point. So early teens, copying things, occasionally making things up. The same sort of stuff. Nothing's really changed. Robots, heroes, monsters, mutants, horror related, sci-fi related, anime, comic related, video game related. I remember being really pleased with that, just because it's like the first time I managed to sort of get coloured pencils to be quite dark and deep. But 1997, I'm about 15, or will be that year. So it's kind of, yeah, it's kind of so weird when I thought, oh, okay, I'm 15, obviously like drawing. There's a lot of it, you know, I've been, I guess you could say, practicing, even doing a few little still lifes with some sort of semi-precious minerals. And I thought, you know what, I think I could turn this whole drawing thing into a career, even though some of it's okay, but the okay bits of the copied, the weird, the stuff like this, not so much. I think this was like one of the first ever charcoal things that I started working on. I don't know what I was doing. This is typical teenage boy stuff. But it's kind of funny how it's been kind of pretty consistent. It's the same old thing repeated again and again. And yeah, getting on towards 1999. So at this point, I'm probably 16, 17 years old, getting towards the end of my school years, sort of thinking, okay, well, what should I start focusing on? You know, am I going to become an artist? Is this ever going to happen? Although this, or a derivative of, was one of the first ever commissions I did. I think I got paid about £30 for it. So didn't draw anything professionally until this one. So that probably kicked it all off. And at that point, I'm like, okay, maybe I can be an artist. Maybe I can become a professional. Who knows? Just drawing things over the years. I wasn't necessarily one of these kids that would be drawing 50 pages a day, but yeah, every so often I like to get the pencils out, draw things. And at this point, I'm about 18 years old, and this kind of represents my ability to make up a character that isn't actually copied from something. So it's not quite there, is it? So there's obviously problems at this point. I think a lot of kids would have thought to themselves, yeah, I mean, it's all right, it's okay. It might still be better than little sketches in the back of books that other kids are doing at the time, but overall, yeah, it's not good enough to be professional, even though that's always what I wanted to do. Although you can start to see that I'm using a bit of Photoshop and digital software at this point. And so, oh, okay, this is a new thing. Better. It's getting better, though. I think you can see the progress from some of the earlier work where it's like, oh, okay, we're ramping it up, even though this is the most basic sort of computer generated rendering. It's there's something there, although still a long way away from kind of where I feel like I wanted to be. And again, this was the commission I mentioned earlier. £50 I got for that, I remember. Quite happy with that. Still lifes again. Basic, but hey, is what it is. I did an Orco. Anyone familiar with He-Man will know who that is. And I was very pleased with that image. I was like, oh, okay, that looks almost professional. Doing some character designs. And this was this was where I'm at. And so I've continued to draw for the last few decades, and I'm at a point now where I feel quite happy with what I'm doing, although I also said that when I was sort of 15 years old, 18 years old, so who knows what I'm going to say in 10 years' time. But it's interesting just to see the journey, how it's gone, how it's progressed. It's funny how I'm still into the same things. I haven't really grown up, but hey-ho, that's just me. But yeah, if you like what you saw, you'd like to continue the journey, follow me, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.